Yes.
Okay, so if you want to give POI, just give it through the chat box. I would like to start my speech in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, member of this House, the motion of today's debate is this House support the introduction of moral conduct laws in major awards rewarded for meritocratic achievements, and we as the opposition team definitely oppose this motion. So first of all, I would like to kind of like give clarification of what the opening government already stated. They make this motion as if after you receive those awards, you need to kind of like make such of a promise or perhaps a memorandum MOU after the award. So you will kind of like having those code of ethics or having those standards of behavior that you should fulfill. So for example, you should do kind of like a charity, you should do this kind of behavior and you should not break their promises after that. However, from the context slide already given, we as the opposition team challenged this motion and we stated that the moral conduct value is applies that you need to fulfill the standards given by the awarding panel, which is kind of like different in every award situations. So you need to fulfill the standards given before you are kind of like formally receive those awards, even though you already get nominated or people say that you already received the awards. So in this case, we as this opposition team would like to explain why basically this motion is kind of like not beneficial for every aspect as possible. First of all, I would like to give some rebuttals for the government team. They stated that as if you need to live based on the awards given to you. So we're talking about meritocratic achievements, right? We're talking about awards that will recognize your achievements in your intelligence, in your credentials, in your education, in your performance. So if you actually need to live based on your awards, it means that you are kind of like being limited to your freedom of speech. You are not allowed to be kind of like live based on yourself. You are need to live based on your awards. And they're also stated when we're talking about it, they also didn't say about kind of like what kind of promises on how long they need to kind of like maintain their image. So in this case, we are not supporting the introduction of moral conduct clause. So, and the second of all, that you need to be the role model of society. They stated that you need to be the role model of society. After the awards, everyone will follow your role, everyone will be looking forward for you, but they did not state how you will suddenly be the role model of society. For example, when you're kind of like winning on an Oscars, of you're winning in a kind of like Nobel Awards, it's not like as if every single people in this world is actually looking forward to you. It's not as if every single people is care about what is your behavior, what is your moral, when they have so much more caring for you in those meritocratic achievements that you already got. For example, if you're winning a novel, what they will care about is your achievement in those novels, how smart you are, and what is your findings that will change the world. It's not about your moral values. For example, we have Bill Gates, which is kind of like known to be one of the richest people in the world. He found Apple and keeps improving until now, but he's actually problematic. But does people actually pay attention to that? No, because why? Because he has so much more achievements that will change the world that people actually looking forward to. So the second of all, they kind of like saying that the purpose of the awards makes people kind of like give that people a trust, so they will trust this awards. But the purpose of award is actually to give a real recognition on what is there actually needs to be recognized about. So for example, if you're reading a novel, you have kind of like some achievement in the scientific, you're reading an Oscar, you really good at filming industry and etc. So we are done with the rebuttal. So first of all, I would like to move to my first argument that a private and a professional matter should be divided. So I already stated on how basically this introduction of moral conduct clause in major awards will be limiting their freedom. So when you're actually already receiving these awards, if this motion's actually kind of like being implemented, the freedom of speech that you already have as a human will be limited by the awards that you're actually given, when you actually have so much more potential as a person. When you're winning these awards meritocratic achievements, it means that you have so much more potential. You have the possibilities that many people actually didn't have. So in this case, you need to use your achievements, your knowledge, your potential as best as you can. So for example, if you're reading a novel, you have to do whatever it takes to change kind of like the society to science, or when you're winning an Oscar or a Grammy, you should do whatever it takes to change society through your music or through your movies. And it does not necessarily needed your moral conduct or your kind of like moral standards. Because why? If this motions is actually kind of like implemented, it means that those awards, if you didn't fulfill the moral conduct clause, those awards will not actually given to someone that is actually deserve it. It will be given to someone that is kind of like morally right, but they have kind of like less credentials or less potential in those fields. So in this case, if someone that didn't deserve those awards, kind of like the one that received those awards, what is the purpose of this award in the first place? Because those awards did not really kind of like focusing on your achievement, did not really focusing on the goals of the people, but also kind of like only focusing on the moral standards and also the moral value that the society kind of like try to pursue. So in this case, we as the opposition team definitely disagree with this motion, because by the implementing and supporting the introduction of the moral conduct clause in major awards rewarded for meritocratic achievements, it means that you will be kind of like limited their freedom, you will be silenced, and in the first place, personal and private matter should be divided in the first place. That's all. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for positioning for the final. Change my connection for less than a minute, yeah, before we proceed in connection-wise stable. Wait, please wait a second. All right, now can everyone confirm that they can hear me, or just give out reactions if you can?
Yes, you are now loud and clear.
All right, thank you so much. All right, thank you so much, Leader of Opposition, for the final remarks. To continue the case on the government side of the House under opening government, I call upon Deputy Prime Minister here.
Okay, am I audible?
Yes, loud and clear.
Okay, give me a sec. Okay. Starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. Ladies and gentlemen, the problem of moral clause is they are limiting the freedom of speech. And also they are limiting the movement of the celebrity or even the awardee of the award. Why? Because first, you are giving something that you are going to receive something that you deserve after the hard work that you have. But at the end of the day, you're not allowed to receive it because of the behavioral standard set by the committee. And we say this is unfair, right? And I will explain more on my extensions on my LO case in my September, right? Before that, I will rebut several things from opening government, right? Uh, First of all, on the limiting the freedom, right? My LO have already told you that uh, this kind of activity is actually limiting the space for the uh, people to for the awardee of an award to express their expressions outside the professional field itself, right? And they say limiting freedom is actually fine. But ladies and gentlemen, we think it is not fine because if a prestigious award does this, how can we be sure that the government and the bigger society did not do the same at the end of the day, right? And also on limiting freedom, we think that limiting freedom is actually not fine at all because you need to separate first between like professional life and your private life, right? Maybe you are doing something bad when you are outside your professional life, and that is okay, and it is not, and it is out of the limit of the committee to give you like something like a punishment such for example, right? And therefore we think that it is very irrelevant. They are limiting the space, the safe space of this celebrity at the end of the day, right? And second, uh, they say that they're going to supervise the award like they said that the award is need to be supervised, so it's not going to harm others at the end of the day, right? But we think here open government failed to understand the mechanism of how the moral conduct clause is conducted, right? And third of all, they're talking about how important is the moral clause in itself, but they never give to you the explanation, the clear explanation on why this is very important to be introduced to the awardee of an award, right? Going on to my substantive, I will bring two things on my LO's case. I will bring on the like recognition of the fairness, and then like how the behavior should not be the standard for the people to receive the award, right? Let's talk about the first one. I'm going to talk about how contracts or like such things like moral clause is actually very subject to a wide interpretation, right? Ladies and gentlemen, when you receive a moral clause, there are so much to do, such as reviewing the clause and to see what is inside it, to read it very carefully. And sometimes when you receive a contract or a clause itself, is very burdening, given the fact that the list is can be very long, and and it's you don't have time, right? Because as a celebrity it's very hard for you to understand because you don't have much time dedicated to read that, to do that. And let's say you have and let's say probably you have manager or your secretary to read it and speak on behalf of you, or like to read it to you, like to simplify it to you. But we think that it is not going to be effective as well because your comprehension with your manager or your secretary comprehension must be different, and it is like cannot be like the same within one people to another people. And then the message that is portrayed by the committee of the one that giving the moral conduct itself, it's going to be different, right? The interpretation will be so blurry to the celebrity at the end of the day. And we say this is problematic because first, as the celebrity, you don't know how fatal your action or the action that you have done or how bad their action is. Later when you like there's no parameter on how they should behave, and it is still going to be vague and very blurry, and no one really knows what exactly the wrongdoing that they have already done. For example, like you receive an award and you may be so surprised when you're supposed to receive the award, but you cannot receive the award because they said that you are doing misconduct of behavior that we don't know actually what is the misconduct of behavior that we done due to the blurry moral clause that is given by the committee, right? And second of all, let's talk about how like private life, my extension on private life and like the professional life, right? We have to differentiate private and professional life because it's very irrelevant to you to say that you are for example, like you doing something that is bad, probably you hit your daughter, but then like uh then you cannot receive the award because that is a bad behavior. And we think it's irrelevant, right? For example, let's argue on how influential this person is. For example, like this person is very influential. They're giving a lot of money to their agency. They're supporting so many, contributing too much to their company, for example. And then just because of the behavioral that is not meet the moral class or like the moral conduct of the people in their private life, for example, in the private life. And first like they're doing this, it is not noticeable, but just because media it's everywhere, and it's like first it is going to like violate the celebrity privacies, and then second, it is like going to not relevant to the achievement that they already have, right? Considering that they are very influential, that's mean their role in the entertainment industry, for example, if their actor is very it's very important, for example. And then like just because you have a misconduct of behavior, and then in your private life, and then you are not allowed to take that award anymore, and we think that is not fair, right? Considering like how hard you have tried for that, how hard you have dedicated your life to giving the best for the company, not only for the company but also like for the audience, or for importantly, like for example, if this movie is the movie that is waited so long by a lot of people, and then like you cannot receive the award, meanwhile that your acting is very top, you are very good at it, and then like it is not fair at the end of the day, just because you have a behavioral standard that is not meets the requirement of the moral class given by the committee of the award competition, award ceremony, right? For example, I think that's all. We very back to oppose.
All right, thank you so much, Deputy Leader of Opposition, for the fine remarks. To open the second half of the debate, I call upon the member of government, here.
Am I audible?
Yes. Loud and clear.
Okay. Okay, first a rebuttal to the opening opposition. They basically said that if this kind of thing is implemented, that those talents will be eliminated from the industry. But we say no. This is actually our Senate House only just just don't allow them to get awards for those top achievements. For example, the Nobel Prize, Oscar, and Grammy, which are all the top achievement and awards in their respective industry. We're not eliminating them from the whole industry, but rather we just don't allow them to have this to receive this kind of top achievements. And the second thing, they say that nobody, like the public, won't care about the morality of those famous people. But we say this is not the truth, and I will explain that in my later argument. And third thing, they say that someone who this kind of policy will not reward to someone who truly deserve it, who truly like have the talents, like or instead of this award will be given to someone that is less professional. But we think that it is justified as those celebrities don't not only have their personal they have responsibility for themselves, but also they have the responsibility for the whole society. So my first argumentation is that we believe that for a celebrity or public figure, they have their moral responsibility for the whole society, and we believe that kind of moral standard and the moral conduct is much more important than their professional skills. So the firstly thing here is that the society will be influenced by those famous people. Why is that? Because people have this kind of this idol worship mentality, which means that oftentimes because people watch films, watch movies, listen to music every day, and they will have this affection and worshipness towards those famous people, to those talented celebrities. So so people in the society, and especially for the teenagers, they're really easy to be affected by those famous people and for those public figures, and they will inherently want to mimic their behaviors. So if this kind of morality flaws of this if one celebrity has this kind of morality flaws, then the teenagers and the public in the society will try to justify to think that, okay, this morality doesn't matter anymore, since they're, as long as you're talented and as long as they're attractive, and the morality doesn't really matter. And the second thing is that why this kind of talents have so important impact on the society is because they're actually function as a role model. As if we are giving them this top achievements and rewards, then we're actually giving awards to those morality flaws. So for example, a scientist who is a really talented and a really talented scientist, but he or she did some engineering or to clone human beings for his or her experiments. Well, even if he or she might give a lot of contribution to the society or even the promotion of the scientific research, but what he's done is totally immoral and totally unacceptable. And if we just still going to reward him or her just for his research, then we're actually consenting to those immoral experiments and behaviors that is conducted by this kind of public figure. So we believe, why is that important? Because the reason why we need to give so many rewards and credits to those famous people is because not only they can earn a lot of money for themselves, but also they can make a lot of contribution to the whole society or even the promotion of human civilization. So if their moral behavior has already affected some have a really negative impact on the whole society, for example, the scandals, or they do some really immoral things to the humanity, then it's actually, even if they have a lot of contribution or even they're really talented, but they won't be beneficial to the whole society at the end of the day, as they can just make excuses by making achievements by doing those wrong and immoral things. Before my speech, take BOI from OO.
Do you think the moral standard of society is the same with the moral standard of the awards ceremony?
Well, ourselves have think that it is similar, especially for some principal questions. For example, like you cannot do in human, people will consent in the society, that kind of moral conduct. So moving on, that we believe while that kind of have this kind of a negative impact on the society, and especially in the teenagers, and it will also have a really bad moral effect on the people in the same industry. And for example, the future actors or singers, they will think that their personal morality doesn't matter, and they don't, given the fact that they have their really big impact on the teenagers, on the people, the young people, and their followers, then they can just do whatever they want, as long as they're attractive and famous. And it's really bad impact and really bad role model effect for the future people in the same industry. And the third thing here is that it will cause really unfair competition. Given that, for example, the scientists who cheated in his or her research, because this kind of research is not his or her original founding, but rather stole it from someone else. Then even if this scientists get rewarded for Nobel Prize, but this is not fair for those truly talented scientists who really make this kind of contribution by themselves. And the fourth thing is that it's actually a misuse of talent, because when we are awarding those talents for those consecutive immoral behaviors, we are actually encouraging them to do more research or do more contributions, as long as they can make achievements in that specific area. They can do whatever they want, and and in the future careers, they will absolutely have the incentive, or they don't have to care about their moral punishment, so that they will conduct more and more immoral behaviors in order to make more achievements for their own career. And the last thing here, we want to make it clear that the opening of positions that the professional life and their private life should be separated, but we say it's no, because as they are they're the public figures and they have impact on the society. So that their private life are actually are watched, observed closely by the whole society, and they will have huge impact of the whole society. And the final thing is that the publisher, like for the publisher or for every journalist, they have the moral standard to have the negative to have the positive impact on the society, instead of including conducting the or to spread the misinformation based on that proposal.
All right. Thank you so much, member of government, for the fine remarks. To continue the case under opposition, closing opposition specifically, I call upon member of opposition here. Oh, wait, before that,
Am I audible? Sorry.
yes, you're audible, but let's wait for the committee to fix the stopwatch.
Oh, okay, sure.
Several seconds to the committee. All right, I suppose that the stopwatch has been fixed by the committee. Member of opposition, you may proceed.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible.
All right. If you want to PYI, just unmute yourself. My gender pronouns is he or him. Yes. Let me start. Starting my speech in 3, 2. Wait. Oh my God. Where is that? Sorry, there is an error in my laptop. Starting my speech in 3, 2, 1. Summarizing government bench in 2 points. Firstly, government bench basically thinking what shows, or in this case, meritocratic awardings is the law enforcement. It's the main law enforcement here, right? They don't really thinking about, like, they think that this is the main law enforcement that we need to have in the industry, right? But second, basically they assume that participants or all the nominees are angel, that they're supposed to not breaking any law, and they supports the main essence that these people are also human, right? Therefore, under our set of house, we'll actually explain more on how. Firstly, I'm going to bring about. Firstly, I want to bring about why this is very problematic to be implemented as a principle in the beginning. But second, I would like to explain why this is actually very bad and very harmful as the principle, right? So going to my clarification. They say the opening government saying that award is giving appreciation of what they bring Aung San Suu Kyi thing and those kind of things, right? Saying that she will actually breaking the law, right? And those kind of things. We think that they did research and those kind of things, right? We think that even if you did research, right, you did research in the current time right now, right? So you did research, okay, this person is already good, but that research cannot ensure that in the future this person is going to commit a crime, right? Because why? Let's say award is giving appreciation of what you have done now, not in the future, right? But we can't deny the fact that human behavior is changing through time, especially if you're a public figure. Let's say for Aung San Suu Kyi, she's a politician. In fact, her action to dehuman violation to the certain community, Rohingya, let's say Rohingya community, is something that being supported by her people, right? By her supporters. She's working under her supporters for voice, because this is the main interest of every politician to get vote, right? Because firstly, even if meritocratic doesn't give them any award, it doesn't mean that Aung San Suu Kyi will stop, or any other participant will stop from committing anything and those kind of things, right? But second, we think that this is still unfair if a meritocratic or any award panel or any awarding shows actually jumping into political problem, because they're supposed to be neutral in giving their assessment, because we are concerned as a viewers, they will have a biased concern, right? Because which political party are you going to stand with? Which moral are you going to stand with? Because we talk about meritocratic meritocratic award that is very broad and is actually concluding a lot of people coming from different background, right? Going to my first argument, why this is very problematic to be implemented as a principle. Let's assume that every award applies this, right? OG purpose is basically wanting the award to be the law enforcement. Within that, firstly, we agree that violation is right, but the question is, who can give an artist a deterrent effect? And of course, it's not the awarding institution, right? What does this tell you? There is no deterrent effect will be given by the awarding awards, and at the end of the day, it is useless for them to do that. So is it why is it better for an award? Is it bad for an award? Is it bad for a meritocratic if they don't do this, right? Within the OG assume that meritocratic award will look bad if they don't apply this, right? Within that two things, they will not look bad, but because of what? First, people don't care, because at the end of the day, people back on law, right? Let's say with the Roland Kelly, with the R. Kelly cases, right? When he abused a child and those kind of things, people care about he getting a law enforcement and to put in jail, right? They're not focusing on, okay, this award, you need to stop giving them award, those kind of things, because the society will put more pressure on the law enforcement, such as policies and those kind of things in the country, right? But second, it doesn't harm the award itself, because people also aware that this is not the job of the awarding institution itself, right? Okay, let's assume that people care in their side, right? Within that, yeah, it might be bad for the award itself, but within the solution and the alternatives to stay neutral is better, because it is showing the consistency of being neutral rather than enforcing something that is not your role, right? Because why? Because first, you are like, let's imagine, I'm gonna make you guys imagine, you are a meritocratic award, which means it is big. It is impossible for you to regulate these people coming from different part of the world. Let's assume that Indonesia, with moral different type with US, has a meritocratic award, right? Let's say Indonesia has an Oscar or those kind of things, meaning that Indonesia or anyone who worked for this meritocratic thing will actually follow the Indonesian moral, right? We believe that if this has happened, we probably won't nominate people who showing nudity, since nudity is something that is actually against something in Indonesia, or maybe people who are LGBTQ will never be nominated in this certain part of award, right? So this is very harmful. Going to my second argument, why this is actually very, very harmful. Yeah, we are not the closing government saying that we are not eliminating them from the industry. They can still work and those kind of things. Note that this is a meritocratic award. This is an award that opens door and gives chance to an individual. Beyonce being the most expensive artist because of the amount of Grammy she received. Cardi B as well, getting paid more because of the Grammy that she received. Or even Will Smith or another artist, or even a lot of artists, they're getting more job opportunities because of the award that they are receiving, right? So what does this tell you? It tells you that this meritocratic award is a very good something. It's basically working like your CV when you're applying for a job, right? When you have something that is more good, it's actually will ensure your career in the future, right? So why this is bad if you apply this? Firstly, you didn't allow them to have room in the industry, and also you don't allow them to get paid or getting to be introduced for their work in the industry, right? You're limiting their chance. But second, one of that is more crucial is that you demotivated them, meaning you're cutting their dreams, right? Like you're talking about morals, but you're also forgetting about morals. You as a meritocratic, you're cutting someone else's moral because something that they do that they probably can fix in the future, right? They're assuming that every artist should have contribution like doing charity and those kind of things, right? Why this is a very bad assumption and a very bad premise in the beginning, right? As an artist, you're always being expected to be an angel, right? To be always good. Why this is bad? Because to be an artist, like Beyonce saying in her interview, for example, like when you come into this industry and being a public figure, you're always being expected to be an angel and those kind of things. Well, at the end of the day, they are human. They are actually will never get staying away from any problem and those kind of things, right? But second, within that, this is the main thing that the government needs to think. They are not government. They are not law enforcement. They are artists. They are not applying in this industry to work and to do donation or probably caring for poverty and those kind of things, right? Because not every artist are rich like Beyonce. Not every artist are rich like Will Smith, right? There are some certain artists, they're still aspiring in the beginning, right? Probably if you're giving them this, they will not continue or probably giving their supporting their individual right? Because like artists is not a government who applied to ensure all the welfare in the society, but they're actually applying to do what they love, right? if they enforce this, the artists are not living like, they talking about like artists is living in an empty world without law enforcement and those kind of things, right? Because this is a very bad presumption. Because at the end of the day, artists do follow laws and those kind of things, right? They live in a country that enforcing law. If Agnes Mo, let's say, against any code of conduct or moral, she will be go to jail because she's still an one member in the national and those kind of things, and therefore you must oppose. Sorry, CG, I think like you need to unmute. Sorry, I didn't see your chat.
All right, thank you so much, member of opposition, for the final remarks. To close the case on the government side of the House, I call upon Government Whip. Here.
Am I audible?
Yes, you're audible, loud and clear.
Oh, thank you. And I prefer PR in the chat box, and my speech will start in 3, 2, 1. Okay, first of all, I'll give some rebuttals to the closing opposition. Their mainly case is about that the standards of some moralities is actually very vague, and there will cause some political problems, and this is a thing that arbitrarily cut together people's moralities. But we believe that it is actually not true. We believe that in our side house, this kind of moral standards is just like this kind of social contract, which means that if some people maybe they just arbitrarily violate the laws, or there's some people who maybe just rape a girl or kill innocent babies, this means that they should be excluded from this kind of candidates. But we are not talking about this kind of controversial political issues like LGBT people or like the feminist movement or something like abortion, but we are just talking about some moralities that has already become a consensus, has already been written into the social contract. And it is in our side house, we can actually guarantee that this kind of candidates, him or her will not be a criminal, or him or her's morality is actually good, and him or her will not say something relates to the sexism or racism. And they also talks about that this kind of things will actually limit the maybe the artists or the scientists the chance, or because they actually have the potential maybe to improve their salaries. But we believe that we have only put this kind of limitation on some prestigious and on some famous awards like Nobel and like the Oscar or Grammy or something like that. But there are actually already has some of the other awards that can give them a rise of their salaries, and actually the government can actually give them some subsidies to support their research or something like that. And then they also talks about that in our side house, we can't guarantee that this kind of famous people, they won't do something bad in the future, but we believe that it's not mutually exclusive. And secondly, we believe that at least in our side house, we can naturally prevent some criminals who maybe do something bad in the past, maybe at the first place. But in your side house, this kind of people will also appear in the candidates, and this kind exert actually a bad influence on the public. Now, actually, I'll do some clarification. And since the off bench keep telling that it is not justified, and I'll tell you that it's actually justified, because this kind of prestigious awards like Nobel and Oscar, this kind of awards should be awarded to some people who have actually do something good and do some commitment to the society. Then this kind of awards should be set as a reward for their commitment and for their devotion to the society. And this means that they need to shoulder the social responsibility to the public and to the society, and to pay for this kind of reward. So it is actually justified. And now here's the comparison to the opening opposition. The opening opposition, firstly, it talks about that not everyone care the other people's moralities, but we believe that it is totally not true. And we people actually care about those famous people's moralities. Why is that? Because firstly, there's a mentality and there's a mindset in the public called idol worship mentality. And maybe this kind of scientists and this kind of stars, they are just so shiny and so glistening, and we just want to intimate and try to clone their their achievement, right? So we want to do just as the same thing as they are. This means that we'll naturally learn from them, and maybe we'll just take their moralities into consideration, because since their achievements are so eye-attracting, and we have already attracted by their achievement, and this is actually the human nature to care about the people's the another things, right? Because maybe it is just a part of the humanity that we want to see the spots and we want to see the flaws in a shiny and in a perfect image, right? And thirdly, actually, the social media will do this part of things, because when the social media just advocates or public something very maybe very scandals from the a famous scientist, this means that this kind of social media will receive a lot of traffic, so they actually have the incentive to do these kind of things. So based on these kind of mechanisms and these incentives, people and the public actually will care about the famous people's their moralities. And we believe that it is this kind of moralities and it is the kind of care that will serve as a role model, which means that if these people's moralities is bad, this will cause a lot of model effect to the public, and this is kind of bad effects. And so we believe that actually it is justified to limit their freedom to guarantee that they will actually cause some good effect to the public. And because firstly, as I have talked about, that this kind of awards is awarded to some people who have committed a lot to the society. So they have the responsibility to shoulder the social responsibility, right? And secondly, this talks about this kind of freedom, but we believe that the freedom should be limited, that, sorry, Priya later, this kind of freedom should be limited, that this will not do harm to the third party, right? But we believe that if this kind of scientists, they have a lot of bad moralities, this means that they actually will have a lot of bad influence to our youngsters based on these mechanisms that my partner has already talked about. And thirdly, even though we believe that even though in our side house, we may just sacrifice maybe some talents people who may have bad moralities, but we still believe that we need to choose those kind of people with good talents, with good moralities as a candidate, just due to this kind of people's influence. And thus the model effect. And they also talks about that they need to give a separation from the professional life and a private life, but they never give us a clear mechanism about it. And they just and maybe it's very likely that they may just misuse their great talents to something bad fields if their morality is bad. And actually, here's the comparison to the OG. OG only have a few claims and only have a few assumptions, and they never give us a clear clarification about this motion. So it is in our side of house that we can provide you about these benefits. That is a clear mechanism about that why famous people will actually care about those famous people's moralities, and why these people can have a bad model effect on the public, and why we should exclude them from the candidates, because this kind of influence, because this kind of bad moralities, which will have a bad influence on the public, on the people, and on our youngsters. Okay, based on that, I'm really proud to propose.
All right, great. Thank you so much, Government Whip, for the fine remarks. To close the debate, I call upon Opposition Whip. Here.
Hi, just a check in. Am I audible? Are my voice clear?
Yes, you're audible.
Okay. My POI preference is for you to unmute yourself and say POI, because I'm not going to read the chat and I'm not going to respond any POI via chat. I'm going to start my speech at 3, 2, 1. Panels, my speech are split into 3 sections. First, I'm going to explain to you. I'm going to respond the government argument. Secondly, I want to state what makes us different from OO. Lastly, I'm going to give a comparison and why why we should win this debate. So firstly, I'm going to respond to the government speech. So basically, all the government bench, their argument is based only one logic. They're trying to prevent the famous people or the award winning to commit crime, and in order to prevent the fan to imitate the award winner actions, because they say that the award winner is going to be a role model. So but here's the thing: the MO at the end of this debate already say that they can give you any guarantee that this by supporting these motions is going to stop the the award winner to commit crime in the future. That's why you shouldn't accept their idea, because it's not proven until the end of this debate. Lastly, they also say that they want to support and protect the faint in order to, because they coming from young, they are young, they are easily influenced by these people. But I'm going to prove to you that it's not necessarily true, because first of all, the main goal of this meritocratic award is not for the award platform to change the behavior of the the celebrity or the people or these famous people, but simply the main goal of this award platform is to motivate many people to work even harder, to give the best that they can, to create the best masterpiece that they can, in order to win the same award. This is mostly coming from the fans who also have the same vision in the future. They want to win the Grammy, the Oscar, the Nobel Prizes, and this is what watching their artists in the TV every single year makes them keep them working even harder every single day, keep them move again and again. But if you're starting to actually shifting the point of this award platform, people are no longer focusing to create the best masterpiece, to give the best that they can give, but instead, as an artist, they are more likely to focus to fit into several standards. They care more about their reputations. So it is very important for them just to look good in the public, so you can win this kind of awards. For example, Grammy Awards. No, thank you. So basically, this is bad firstly for the artist itself and for the fan, and this will harming the relationship between the artist and the fan itself. Firstly, the artist will become more fake, because they only care about this their reputations. Even if they don't want to, the manager would force them in order to fit into the standard, to always have a good reputation, to never able to be their own self, so who they really are. This is happening for the Taylor Swift. She admit that she never can truly be herself, just because her manager want to win this kind of award, and it's not good, because at the end of the day, the fan is not to see that who you truly are. At the end of the day, when you coming as a someone who is come out as someone that is have a mistake, the fan will judge you eventually, they will hate you, and this is also not good for the fan who very like the artist, and somehow see their artists never win the awards, they eventually become very like disappointed. Yes, please.
Do you think that immoral journalists who spread misinformation should be rewarded by the Pulitzer Prize?
I'm going to move to my argument first because before I answer it. So basically, like the fan will become more disappointed, and the award platform slowly will lose its prestigious name, and it become more less and lesser relevant day by day. And I think like what makes us different from OO is like we bring you a lot of stakeholder, and we say to you that from the fan itself, from the organizer of the awards and the artist itself, there's a lot of impact like by supporting this kind of motions, right? So but different with OO only explain about a private life and personal life should be separated. So you should give us more credit because we give a more whole explanation about the stakeholder. And also like my MO already give a good explanation about people who have the pace. People have pace. Imagine if Eminem coming from a very like complicated background. If you limited him because he's only a pace, this will only like doesn't give any opportunity for Eminem to change in the future, to become a better person. Responding to the POI, I think like even if they commit crime, it is not our responsibility, because again and again, my member of opposition already tell you that there is a law enforcement that should be the one who focusing to if somebody commit a crime. Thank you very much. Proud to oppose this motion.
All right, thank you so much. Opposition with further final remarks. That marks the end of the debate. Thank you everyone for the debate. Give me and my panel time to deliberate our discussions. And after that, we will go back to the breakout room. So please do not leave the breakout room